Hi, everybody. Welcome back for another episode with Grammar Pirates. We are going to continue talking about pronouns, but we are going to be focusing on indefinite and reflexive pronouns for a little bit here. So for the first segment, we're just going to be talking about our indefinite pronouns. And what I'd like you to do is look at this next slide and think about the left side being one person and the right side of the slide being another person. So what would you like to do? I'm not sure. How about you? I don't know. Maybe go out to eat? Or would you like to go to the library? I'd do whatever you'd like to do. Have you ever known anyone make plans like this, where you don't really know what's going on or what might be happening? And is anything definite? No. If something is indefinite, it means not definite. And this is the first group of pronouns we will be discussing today. So what are pronouns again? Yep, nicknames for nouns. Morpheme knowledge helps us to understand that it literally means for noun or for the noun. You have no idea who the pronoun is specifically referring to in a sentence. So for in the example, is this someone's pencil? The pencil does belong to a person, but we aren't sure who that person actually is. And this is why the pronoun is indefinite. We aren't sure which antecedent the pronoun is connected to or who does the nickname belong to. So if you take a moment to look at this cartoon and really look through it, so if you're really looking at what the characters are talking about, the dad is asking who's knocking the table and all the kids are saying they didn't. But why did I put this cartoon here? Do you really notice that it's actually kind of a play on indefinite pronouns? Do you see nobody in the corner right over here? They are trying to have a specific person, or in this case, a ghost, be that antecedent to go with the word, which isn't actually possible. So when the little girl says, nobody is kicking the table, she's actually meaning this little guy over here, or I don't know, who's right here, or not me. And you can see that they actually look a little bit naughty. So here's a list of singular and indefinite pronouns. They're plural and singular. And so you want to really kind of look through these. If you notice, a lot of these over on this side, on the left-hand side, they actually have one or buddy, no one. Either is the only one that actually doesn't seem to fit that right there. So here is a really big hint. You want to read the sentence to understand the context or understand what's happening here and figure out if there is in a sentence one or more antecedents before choosing the appropriate pronoun. So let's take a minute and we'll try these. There were blank honeypots left on Pooh's shelf. The blank envelopes on Owl's desk showed how many letters he had written. Does blank know who the book belongs to over here? Does blank understand the directions? So take a minute and see which one you would like to put, which one fits. All right, so let's check these out and see what our answers are here. There were few honeypots left on Pooh's shelf, and if you know anything about Pooh, he's always hungry and always eating honey, so there aren't going to be a lot, which means few. And then in number 2, we have Owl, so it would be the many envelopes on Owl's desk show how many letters he had written. So it gives you a clue that he's been writing a lot, so you would refer to many. Does anyone know who the book belongs to over here? And then does everyone understand the directions, or does everyone in the class understand the directions, each and every person? So now we're going to go on to reflexive pronouns. If you want to take a stretch break, do some jumping jacks, give your dog a high five because you've been making it, feel free to do that. Here we are with our reflexive pronouns. And these pronouns refer back to the noun with the action. And a lot of times they include self or selves in the word. If you think about when you go to the doctor and they tap your knee, what happens? Yeah, your knee comes back to you. It's a reflex. So here's a list of singular and plural reflexive pronouns. And you can actually see all the word with the self. And over here, selves, because you change anything that ends in an F to a V when you're making it plural. So as with indefinite pronouns, you want to be aware of what's happening around the pronoun. Again, you need to understand the context or what's happening to help you better become aware of what you need to do to figure out if you need a singular or plural pronoun. So do you notice the difference between the structure of the words? Hopefully you do, because I kind of just gave it away. All right, let's do this. So again, you're going to want to take a look at these examples and try to figure out which pronoun fits the best. And a pronoun is what? Nickname for a noun. I'm glad I heard you. Number 1, the cadet was going to hurt without reading the directions. Number 2, I will read the book to be sure I understand what I'm reading. They will look after during the expedition, which is what Winnie the Pooh says. The dishwasher can work. And number 5, the rocks didn't turn over on their own. So take a minute and see if you can't figure out which pronoun is appropriate there. All right, let's see how you did. Okay, the cadet was going to hurt himself without reading the directions. Now, usually we wouldn't know if the cadet was actually going to be a female or a male, except for the fact that our only 2 choices are himself or ourselves. So we can safely infer that the cadet is in fact a gentleman. For number 2, I will read the book to myself to be sure I understand what I'm reading. So it's a reflex. Who's doing the reading? I am. I will read the book myself. They will look after themselves during the expedition. And part of why we can figure this one out is because our self doesn't sound really right there, because that's just referring to not the right number of people. And we've got a they. Our self includes us in that antecedent, whereas they is not including us in that antecedent. So we can't be a part of the pronoun because we're not actually in that group. It's another group of people that we might be looking at. And the dishwasher can work itself. Notice again here we've got our dishwasher here, and there's only one of them. So we can't have more than one in the pronoun here. And the rocks didn't turn themselves over on their own. There's more than one rock. This is where those antecedents come back into play again. So it gives us the clue, the context to help us figure this out. So hopefully that's helping to make a little bit more understanding. Think about pronouns are still nicknames for nouns. I hope you definitely understand indefinite and reflexive pronouns now. If you are still a little bit funny, you can watch this video as many times as you need to help yourself to be a successful student. And I'm glad that you stuck around a little bit more. Continue to ask questions, think, use those noodles, and I'll see you on our next episode. Until then, be an awesome apprentice.